Welcome to today's webinar. This is a webinar series, and the topic of today is publishing in international journals, peer review, and ethics. I'm the speaker of today, Kang, and I'm also Services and Asia Training Executive from Cambridge University Press. So as it is a webinar series, we've done two in the previous 2 months, and we're going to have 3 more in the following months. And today our topic is about peer review and ethics. So for many of you who've been to the previous 2 sessions, you may already know me. I'm working to improve author experience in multiple ways and help authors to achieve their professional goals. I have 5 years of working experience in training and consulting in the OA journal marketing and management. And my efforts are currently focused on supporting authors to improve their chances at publishing in top-tier journals, especially in Asia. So if you have any questions after this and in the future related to author services, you can just feel free to email me. This is my email address. Yeah, so let's start. We've talked about OA, we've talked about how to select an appropriate journal. So when you get a target journal or several target journals, you can start to preparing your manuscript. We also talked about how to write your manuscript, some tips for writing. So and after this, we're gonna go through like preparing your manuscript, and we're gonna talk about details about peer review and publishing ethics. Okay, so preparing your manuscript. First, submission guidelines. Check all the submission guidelines. Check what kind of format the paper should be submitted in. So some journals might ask you to use PDF. Some might ask you to use LaTeX or Word file. So check what format the journal asks you to use. And second, is there a cover letter or impact statement needed? If yes, try to write one. And number 3, how to prepare figures, illustrations, video, and audio files. Some journals might ask you to submit separately, separate your tags and your figures or illustrations, but some journals might ask you to put them together and submit them as a whole. So check those guidelines. And number 4, check required inclusions such as cover letters, funding statements, declaration of interest statements, also contribution statements, etc. So this is about the submission guidelines. After you check this, you got that your draft down, you might think about your paper titles. So 3 keywords for paper titles: key thing, short, accurate, and informative. So these kind of paper titles can make your paper stand out, can capture the attention of editors and peer reviewers. And also it could be very SEO friendly. People can easily find your paper, and also they can easily know that your paper is what they want. And include 1 or 2 keywords in your paper title. So here is a draft title. This is quite normal one. We usually do this, like effect of ultraviolet light on spontaneous chromosome rearrangement in rat hens when exposed to ultraviolet light. So I think many of us would use this many times, like effect of something in something, and when this happens. So the improved title make it more direct and more simple. This like ultraviolet light induced chromosome rearrangement in rat hens. So more direct and more accurate, more shorter one. This could be very useful and very good for peer reviewer and editors to read. So that's what we said, short, accurate, and informative. And then the abstract, two main things, clear and concise. So first, you could have a structure. Some journals might even give you the structure, like you need first to write the objective, and then methodology, results, etc., etc. But some might not display any structure requirements, but you need summarize outcome. And about length, check requirements, normally 150 to 200 words, no more than 200 words for your abstracts. And then discoverability. So if you go to the platform, doesn't matter, it's Google Scholar or WOS or Scopus, any platform. When you search some manuscripts, first two sentences will be displayed in search results. That means the first two sentences are extremely important for you, and very important for the future readers. So when you're writing, pay more attention on the first two sentences. Make sure that it can show something, show your core idea, and can show the readers about your manuscript and won't mislead them. So that's about the abstract. And then keywords, three things. First, that must be relevant to your paper and your field of research. And second, check requirements. Normally it's 4 to 8 keywords, but some journals might have special requirements. So check the guidelines, track of the guidelines. And then discoverability. So keywords seems like more important in this. When we are talking about discoverability, keyword seems like more important than paper title and abstract, because most search engine use keywords to display the order of the results. So when you're writing, when you're putting those keywords there, think about these. Which kind of audience, which kind of readers, which group of them do you want them to know? Do you want them to read your paper? So when you select keywords, think about these. Okay, so this is something we've talked about in the first session, the overleaf. So many journals, the templates, many journals will provide a LaTeX or Word template for authors. So the authoring tools such as Overleaf offer some great advantages. Cambridge is also working with, cooperating with Overleaf. If you go there, you can see our templates for some journals. I think many journals have those templates, and it's quite useful, quite easy to use, and it also has direct submission route. So if you have any issues, problems, you can have a look at that. Can make your life easier. And the graphic abstract and video abstract. So graphic abstract is not any figure you are using in your manuscript. It's like a visual summary of main findings of the article. It's like a map that can let the readers know your core idea, your main thing of your article. But you need to check instructions for authors to say if this is available in your target journal. And a video abstract, that's a short summary of your article, approximately 2 minutes. So this picture showing the video abstract. Yeah, the most important thing is ensure it is accessible. Don't make that as a private. And then use imagery to explain your article. Don't just show yourself Don't just like it show one author is speaking, but try to use imagery to explain. And also check the instructions, because many journals does not provide these. Yeah, so check instructions for authors to say if it is available. Okay. Yeah, and talking about preparing manuscript, we usually talk about ORCID or ID. So this is kind of platform for your future use. If you have account, you may already know what it is. If you don't have, I recommend you to register one. It's a free platform. It's like a researcher's ID. So everyone has this ID. When you submit your manuscript to Cambridge, I think most of our journals has linked our journal to ORCID. So when your paper published, the publication message will automatically link to your ORCID account. So people who follow you would know that you have a paper published. It's not only about the paper, but also for conference chapters, your book, and conference paper. All kinds of activities could be linked to ORCID. So you have like a really completed kind of CV on this homepage. Yeah, and that's ORCID. And and credit. Well, this is a high-level taxonomy, including 14 roles that can be used to represent the roles typically played by contributors to scientific scholarly output. Simply to say is that when you're submitting your paper, journals want to identify who did what. So you did draft writing, so there will be a row there, like 14 rows. One of the row is like draft writing. So you put draft writing under your row, and there might be some other rows like modeling, like experiments, like data analysis, etc., etc. There are 14 rows. The reason why the groups we support these is that but many years ago authors found that they could do some simple thing and then they could be the author of a paper. Then publishers received some papers like with 200 authors. It's pretty hard to identify who did what, and is there anyone like didn't do anything but they just put their name there. So the creative thing, this high-level taxonomy has been created, try to make people who have done a lot of things feel like they are really contributors, and we acknowledge that we recognize that this person is the contributors. So this is why Credate has been created, and that's why you've been asked to put who did what before you when you're submitting your manuscript. Okay, that's about preparing your manuscript, and then this is about peer review. So aims of peer review. Peer review allows your research to be evaluated and commented upon by independent experts, which as your peers. They work with the same academic field as you, and its aims are to ensure that your article is sound and accurate, and give your details and constructive feedback on your work from experts in the field. And it can also alert you to any errors or gaps in literature, in the literature you may have overlooked. And it can create a discussion between the author, reviewers, and the editors. around a research field or topic. And also ensure submitted articles are suitable for the journal and its reader. And also alerts you to new research in your area. So for most journals, the editor will be the one screening article for scope fit. In peer review, that main idea is to make sure article is academically sound. So that's the aim of peer review. Then there are many types of peer review. I've listed some of them. Single blind peer review, where the reviewers are aware of authors' identities, but authors are never informed of reviewers' identities. And double blind peer review, neither author or reviewer is aware of each other's identity, don't know each other. Open peer review, authors and reviewers are aware of each other's identity. In some journals with open peer review, the reviewers' report are published alongside the article. So that's open peer review. And there's also a more rare type of peer review, triple blind. I don't know whether you've met this. That means not only authors and reviewers blind to each other's identity, but also editors are also blind to identity of both. This aimed at minimize bias among editors. However, it's not used commonly. Yeah, and the post-publication peer review, this is like also very, very rare in some models, particular experimental open access publishers. It's quite rare. Manuscripts are reviewed after they've been published. These reviews are most open. So the type of peer review used by a journal should be clearly stated in the invitation to review letters you receive and the policy pages on the journal website. So if after checking the journal website, you're unsure which type of the peer review they're using, or you would like to clarify the journal's policy, you should contact the journal editor. So this is very important. We've talked about the predatory journal, right? Some predatory journal would write a really unclear peer review policy. So if you're not sure about their policy, check with the journal editor. This is an overview of a typical editorial and peer review process for journal. It could be varied, but this is like general way. So when you finish your journal article, you submit to the journal, and the journal editor screens the paper. If they think your paper is out of scope or revised, resubmitted, suggests you consider submission to another journal, or complete rejection, they're gonna give rejected. And that's what we call desk rejection. If they think that's okay, so your paper goes to peer review process. After the peer reviewers when the peer reviewers finish their review, they give comments to the editors. The editor assess the reviews and then give decisions to you, either reject, accept, or make revisions. So make revisions is the most common results. It's like I think maybe 50%. After this, it really depends on the reject rate. Yeah, but most of them maybe the author makes revision part. So let's have a look at the author makes revision outcome of peer review. So 3 different decisions: accepts, revise, and resubmit or reject. If you receive accept, no need to change anything. It's pretty rare that after peer review process, you don't need to change anything, just accept. And the second, revise and resubmit. Here are two different types. First, after minor revisions. Second, subject to major revisions. Like most publishers, most systems are using these two. So if you receive minor revision needed, normally it's your language issue or new citations or mentioning additional topics needed, or tweaks to interpretation of results. But if you receive major revision, that could be significant reorganization of text needed, or more experiments needed, or argument need to take into account a whole new topic, or existing analysis of data or evidence needs to be modified. And if receive reject paper, so they would say like suitable for Cascade journal, if applicable. In this case, you're gonna receive comments, because that's rejected after peer review. You're gonna have peer review comments, journal editor comments. You can still revise your paper based on those comments and find another journal to submit. So reject after peer review is also a way to help you to improve your journal quality, your manuscript quality. So how do we respond to revisions? When we finish our revision, we usually need to resubmit that to the journal and go through peer review again and wait for the editor's decision again. So how do we write those response? First, take it as an opportunity to refine and improve the manuscript, and discuss those comments that you don't agree with. You don't have to agree with every comment. If you disagree, just explain and just discuss those comments and let the reviewers know that you might didn't explain that clearly, but you still have your own idea, and your idea is convinced. And then summarize main changes in responding to reviewer cover letter. So how to write this cover letter? 3 paragraphs. First paragraph, thank editor and reviewers. Second paragraph, summarize main changes. And third paragraph, end politely. And for the cover letter, which detailed response. So first, cover issue point by point. You should write those, you write your response point by point. And the second, refer to line number and address comments in sequential order. So let's have a look at an example. This is about disagreeing with comments. You don't have to agree with every comment. If you disagree, respond objectively and professionally, and also support your argument with evidence. And third, if you disagree with comments, perhaps still consider revising argument or speak to the editor for guidance. You disagree, but you can explain more clear to the peer reviewer or journal editor. And number 4, provide a detailed list of changes made, like this. So you can see these also wrote like, I appreciate the reviewers' comments and suggestions. They are very helpful. Let me respond point by point to the issue they raise. And referee A, paragraph 1 and page 1 and paragraph 3. So this is kind of, we can also see that's kind of like line number. So the reviewers know where you are talking about. And they also wrote like, I can see that this statement is indeed little ambiguous. I've now made the point more clearly. And page 2, paragraph 2, I've referred to the work mentioned by the reviewers and added a reference. That means I agree, I did this as you suggested. So when you're writing this response, try your best to make it clear so that peer reviewers can quickly review everything and quickly give your response. It can, I would say it can help you to save your time. You don't need to wait a really long time if you make this so clear. They might use like 3 hours to review and then give you feedback. If you didn't make that so clear, they might need to spend 3 days or even 2 weeks to figure out which part you've modified, which part you didn't, and wrote the feedback to you. And how to handling rejection. So if you receive reject after peer review, take the opportunity to improve your paper, read the referee's report and editor's letter, and try to improve your manuscript. And establish why your article was rejected. Was it a case of journal scope? Was it due to flaws in your writing? Are there fundamental issues that need to be addressed in your methodology or data? And also consider making the changes recommended by the referees. An unchanged paper is likely to get the same or similar comments even from different referees. And actually, I think many years ago, we met the situation that they also submit the article to one journal and receive reject after peer review, but this also, they didn't change anything and submit the manuscript to another journal. And the reviewer of previous journal is the journal editor of the second journal. And the journal editor said, well, I reviewed this as a peer reviewer. I think there's a conflict of interest. I can't review that again, but seems like they didn't change anything. And yeah, of course, they received kind of similar results. So take that as an opportunity. All the comments are really useful and really good to us. We can try to improve our manuscript and then find another journal to submit. And if you think the decision is flawed, look at the journal's peer review process. If you want to appeal or do some rebuttal, that's okay. Just email to the journal editor. Okay, so that's about peer review. And then let's talk about publishing ethics. So Committee on Publication Ethics, the COPE. I don't know whether you know this platform, this group. So Cambridge University Press is a member of COPE. COPE gives advice on cases or related to publishing ethics. Here are some real-life cases. We can have a look at some of them. So the first one, author requests permission to publish review comments received. So the verdict denied. Reviewers were told that process was confidential at the time of carrying out review. So in this case, I guess the peer review type is either single blind or double blind. That means peer reviewers' identity would be confidential to authors and to the public, so denied. If that's open, then the comments can be published with the article. And number two, author of rejected paper publicly names and criticize peer reviewer. And verdict classified as a mistake by authors who apologized publicly to the reviewer. So it's just about your writing. Don't make that don't just do too much too emotionally involved in this. If there's anything you are not satisfied with, contact with the journal editor and solve this problem. Don't publicly names and criticize other people. And number 3, publication of manuscript on an external website after acceptance, but prior to journal publication. This is not a law, definitely not. So verdict, classified as a mistake by author who removed the manuscript from external websites. So it's even it is Gold OA is free to access, the author still cannot publicly show the manuscript on an external website and before the journal publication. When the journal publication finished, when your manuscript have done everything and your manuscript has been published, and if it is open OA, it's Gold OA, you can just feel free to send this link to everyone, but you can't do that during the production or yes, like production process. You cannot do that. And if that's a subscription type, it's even worse. The author doesn't have any copyrights of the paper. The copyright belongs to the publisher, so they can't even do that after the publication. Okay, and number 4, author sends gift to editor of journal while manuscript being reviewed. So editor worried about conflict of interest returns a gift. This is a conflict of interest problem. The editor would really be worried about that. So you don't send gift during this. Okay, so here are some ethical issues and author responsibility. Let's have a look at that. So duplicate submission. Authors must confirm work in the submitted manuscript that has now been submitted elsewhere. So you can only submit your manuscript to one journal at the same time. If you want to submit your manuscript to another journal, you have to withdraw that, or you reject from the first journal. So you can't just send your manuscript to many journals at the same time. And number 2, plagiarism or inadequate citing. So authors need to ensure that all work in the submitted manuscript is original and that you acknowledge content reproduced from other sources. So don't copy, don't plagiarism. That could be that could influence your future career so much. And you know, we all the publishers have repeat rate check tools, so we know everything, so don't do that. And number 3, no disclosure of conflict of interest. So declare any potential conflict of interest. So don't hide anything, like the editor did. When they also sent gifts to editor said, "I'm so sorry, I have to return it. I'm worried about conflict of interest." And number 4, significant error in publication. So authors has a responsibility to notify the publisher if a significant error in publication is identified. So that's author's responsibility. And number 5, not conforming to national, local, or institutional laws and requirements. So studies involving human or animal subjects should conform to national, local, and institutional laws and requirements. That's very important. I think all of you who are doing research related to human or animal subjects, You must know that. If you don't do that, no publisher, no journal would publish your paper. Yeah. And the copyright issue authors need obtain permission to reproduce content such as image, maps, figures, music examples. This is common when you come to the review, literature review type. So you might need permission of other articles, image or figures or maps or musical example. In that case, you might need to contact the author themselves, or you might need to contact the publisher to get the permission of reproduce those content. Yeah. And that's basically everything for today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And please scan the QR code to complete feedback after this. Thank you. Have a look. Wow. Oh. So easy to use ChatGPT or other AI tool to come up with research idea and even to write articles. Are we encouraged to use AI? Well, Cambridge University Press Journal checked whether an article was written with the help of AI. Lastly, is it ethical to use AI to come up with a research idea? Or is using AI to draft an article is good or bad thing? If so, how can one try to make an AI written article less machine-like and more human so the system can detect? Yeah, we've talked about this ChatGPT thing, excuse me, from the first session to now. Are we encouraged to use AI? I think every publisher encourage people to use AI, but in a reasonable way, not use AI to write your manuscript, but maybe do some literature search, or maybe do some like data analysis, but definitely not writing. I think Elsewhere published an article last year, 2023, that they put the ChatGPT as one of the authors. So we've talked about, yeah, it's really hard to identify because we also talk that with each other if ChatGPT can be the author. So the thing is, we human as the author, we could take that responsibility. For example, these days, there is a ethical issue that a professor in the university, a really famous professor, he used a lot of fake data, some data even is like photoshopped. And when we found that, she would take that responsibility, as fired him, or let him to like apologize. That could influence his future career, his research career. I think he would never be able to be the professor or do any related experiments or projects. So, I mean, if there is a problem, we as human beings, we can take that responsibility. People can be punished, but ChatGPT can't. So that's the main point that many publishers would disagree with authors that put the ChatGPT as one of the authors. So I think that's the main thing. So but on the other hand, I think the society, like, it's developing. We are developing every year. We cannot just say no, you can't use ChatGPT to do anything. But personally, I think you can use that, but don't do that too much or too over the ethical line. So like I said, you can't just use ChatGPT to create data. You can't use ChatGPT to create those words. That could be wrong. You know, ChatGPT is based on all the models. They cannot think. They just collect those data and based on everything they've already have. But we as human, we create new things. We make things that never had been shown. So that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. It's also what we are talking about is like we encourage people to use AI, but in a legal way, like ethical way, but not too much. Yeah, we are still discussing. All the publishers are still discussing with that, and I think we have a link to show that Cambridge currently our policy to AI. Yeah. Yeah. And Jonah, can we find length process of peer review on journal's homepage? If not, is there a standard of peer review process? Yeah, I think you can find that on the homepage. Normally, I think most peer review length of peer review process is about 3 months, I think. From submit to the first decision, it's about 3 months. Yeah, normally most. But you can find that on the homepage. If the homepage, if the journal is quite new, the homepage didn't show anything, you can email the journal editor. You can find the journal editor's email on the homepage. Email the publisher or email the journal editor, asking them about the peer review process time. Yeah. And can we submit to two or more journals at the same time? No, you can't. You can't submit one paper to 2 or more journals. You can only submit one paper to one journal at the same time, unfortunately. Yeah. If process still stays for selection reviewers, how to deal with it? So you just wait, I guess. If you need them to, how long it would take for selection, what it's hard to say. You know, you invite them, you invite reviewers, but that doesn't mean the reviewers would 100% say yes, I have time, I would do that. So it's hard to say how long will it take. But yeah, it could be like one day, just first day when I ask to when the journal editor asked the first 2 reviewers, they said, okay, I'm gonna do that. But it could be like another reviewer don't reply, the reviewer doesn't reply to the journal editor, they don't say yes or no, so they can just wait. So it's really hard to say how long will it take, but if you need that really urgent, you can email the journal editor to ask if the journal editor has any way to help you to make this faster. Yeah, email them, ask them. Will an action research be considered in the journal? Will an action research be considered action research? Well, it depends on which journal. This question, yeah. Yeah, it depends on which journal. Also live. Yeah. And the other one, is it important to acknowledge the author of the text when we do critical research or their art literatures and having parts of picture of the artwork in papers? Text when they critique research. Parts of picture. I think you need permission if you do critical research, that's fine. But if you having parts of picture or their artwork in papers, you need the permission. You need ask the either the author or the publisher. You need the permission to use the parts of their pictures of their artwork. Yeah. In your experience, how long will it take for reviewers to check the manuscript? Well, in my experience, I think 2 working days, maybe. Yeah. But the reviewers has many things to do. So when do they have those 2 working days? That's a question. So they might have conference, they might have they might have their research to do. So normally I think they need 2 working days to read through the paper and give comments and reread that again and double check. But they might don't have 2 whole working days when they receive that. So you might need wait like 4 to at least 4 weeks. I think they need schedule their time to get a time and put these tasks in their schedule. So 4 weeks at least, I think. If that's in the holiday, like summer holiday, if they have summer holiday, well, that's hard to say. Are there any cases of a reviewer taking credits of a paper being reviewed? And arranging also lose copyrights. I don't think. I don't think I know any cases like this. Paper being reviewed and original authors lose copyrights. Reviewers count. No, reviewers count. Does publication ethics committee imply requirements for point to publication? How such committee? Oh, the COPE. It's like when the publisher has a question, we're gonna submit to their box, and their people gonna like judge, and they have meetings they kind of give decisions and reply to us. So it takes several weeks, I think. Yeah, they're gonna reply to us. Yeah, that's how it works, but I don't know how do they make money. It's yeah, but that's really helpful because sometimes it's really hard for publishers to judge if this is a law or not. So COPE is really a helpful committee. Any other, what is your advice when we have what factors responsible for rejection of any manuscripts? The main issue. So if that's desk rejection, the main issue is out of scope. I think 40% or yeah, almost 40% desk rejection is out of scope. Yeah. And some of them is about language issue, can't understand the paper. Some of them could be like they have minimized requirements. For example, a journal asks you to write at least 2,000 words for an article, but they also submitted the article with 1,000 words. So that's far away to the basic requirements, then they can receive desk rejection. But for the reject after peer review, most main reason is content itself as the experiment issue, writing flows, or the method itself, or the topic. Yeah, that's all about the big issue. The manuscript has significant issues that the journal cannot accept it. So there's two different rejection. And if the research is being done in one country while the PI and the research is being done, or the PI takes ethical approval from also one local ethical approval will work in this case. Well, that's a good question, because normally if you do research in this country, you need the permission, you need an ethical approval in this country. But in another country, that's a good question. But you still have the ethical approval. Well, if that's journal, some journal might say no, I think, because that's not from their local approval. But yeah, some might say yes. I'm not sure about this, but I don't think it is okay, personally. Because all those manuscripts I was saying, they do research in this country, they get approval in this country. Yeah. But because you're doing like international cooperation, that's understandable, but it could be a problem in the future when you're submitting your manuscript. So yeah, maybe you could get also apply for the local ethical approval too. I think, yeah, for guarantee your paper can be published. And I would like to offer some feedback for authors' consideration during the review process, which may improve the strength of the paper. Moreover, I believe that manuscript is well organized, therefore a main revision is recommended to a main revision. Yeah, I think you're talking about a minor revision is recommended. Yeah, when the manuscript is well organized, usually a minor revision is recommended because you don't have to change so many things. Everything in your manuscript is well it's being well done. So the thing is just like a little bit grammar issue, a little bit topic thing, maybe some new new citations, new reference. This is like a really excuse me, really minor thing. Yeah, I would say yes. Thanks, Fikadu. And I mean, the researchers are starting in another country, but research is being done in another country. So do we need to? The researchers are starting in another country, and research is done in another country, but you write paper in this country, you just have this country's ethical approval. If that's, yeah, I think you need two ethical approvals in that case because they study and doing research in their country. And please throw more light on using AI for publication writings. We might, yeah, I think we might need to have a whole webinar about how do we use AI for publication writings because yeah, we have lots of issues to talk about. Yeah, maybe later in this year we can have a webinar to talk about this as a topic. Yeah. My question were, can we use ChatGPT for paraphrasing it may face publication rejection? Yeah, it could be. It may face publication rejection. Yes, yes. I think yes. If you use that to write or paraphrase, yeah, maybe. Well, that's depends on the recent editorial policy, but and it also depends on how did you use that to paraphrase, I think. If you just like I would translate this to that and that's fine. But if you put like whole like 3,000 words there and please paraphrase this, I think that's kind of plagiarism. And which journal related to business management under Cambridge are also friendly? Business management, send email to me. I can reply to you. So I will release some business management journals and reply to you with all the details and send email to me. Remember to send email to me. Tai Li Chen, yeah. How much time is given for resubmission and are authors remunerated for their published papers? Well, that depends. That really depends on how many things you need to modify. But normally 4 weeks, I think. Normally they would give you 4 weeks, I think. Yeah. Or even longer if that's like a major revision, you need redo your experiments, then you can negotiate with the journal editor. You can have more time. Also remunerated for their published papers. Well, that's also depends, I think. Yeah, it depends on the situation, and you can check with the journal editor. Yeah, I think time's up. So if you have more questions, feel free to email me. I've put my email there. Let's see my email. And yeah, just email me. These questions need longer, like detailed things, need words to reply. You can just email me. I will reply to you. And thank you very much for joining today's session, and see you next month. One more question. Another question we face: the most difficult journals need charge fee greatly and staying a long period of time in reviewing. What do you suggest? Check the transformative agreements you can get free published. Check with your institution, with your university. You might have TA with us, and based on those things, you can publish for free. So check that. And staying for long period, we cannot do too much on that. So yeah, you can just wait, but you can also email to the journal editor to check the process. Yeah, we can't do too much because that's all about the peer reviewer side. So yeah, we can just wait. I'm so sorry about that. And thank you very much. Have a good day. See you next month.